Hey, good morning. This is Joe from Citrus County Porch Life, bringing you a daily word for men for January 22nd, 2025. The month is flying by, and the word for today is healthy. Here's the biblical quote. For physical training is of some value. I'm just pausing so the trucks can get by. They travel in pairs, so they make a lot of noise. For physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things, holding promise for both the present life and the life to come. A man crush is a real thing. You could reframe it as admiration if you want, but when you see that guy with the well toned body and think, it would be great to look like that, or the athlete who is fit and skilled in his position, I wish I could be like him. That's kind of a man crush. It may be short lived, but it is still there. The question you have to ask yourself is, if you want to put in the effort to be like him, and all of a sudden the desire goes away, and it is likely replaced with respect, he is doing something you'll never likely do. But to what end? If this training brings income into his home, then sure, keep up the focus, buddy. We should be healthy, exercising our bodies and eating well. All of us want to remain vigorous as long as we live on the earth. Our bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit and should be treated with value. When it comes to exercise and healthy eating, we want to do right by ourselves, but we also fight genetics, so balance is necessary and less comparison to others is critical. Our health is to be focused on godliness first, which does last into eternity. It does not mean we disregard all else, but we want to keep our focus on what matters most, our connection to God. Discipline is important to both spiritually and bodily health. What can you do to improve your discipline? Well, this passage really speaks to me, uh, particularly with the man crush. Now, I was a swimmer. After the death of my brother in a drowning accident, my dad got me involved in every kind of water activity at well, it was called the Olneyville Boys Club. It's since become the Boys and Girls Club. They had a pool, an old Art Deco pool, but it served its purpose for me. And I began age group swimming. And I'm trying to think, I think it was ages 5 through 7, 8, 8, 9, and 10. Uh, well, I was in the age group. And the wonderful thing about that is you got kids that are relatively the same age as you. So would perform about the same. But when you get into some of the serious groups, and you're not just doing it at your local boys club. And for me, it was swimming throughout New England. I can remember in the 15 to 17 group. 15, when I was 15, I was scrawny, skinny, and I'd get up on the starters block, and there'd be a guy from Maine that was like 6'3", full of muscles, and I thought, oh my God, please, please help me. I'll never win this. But I actually did win somehow. And it, I was a slow developer as far as muscles went. And really, my whole life, I've never been very muscular, even working out. There are just some guys that aren't. And when I got to when I got to high school, I started at 13, and I was swimming against guys 19. Guys that started high school when they were 15 or 16, and it it challenged me, and it was all a mind game because by the by the end, my junior year, I didn't lose any races. My senior year, I didn't lose any races, and I ended my high school swimming career at 16. So I know exactly what this guy is talking about. You look at guys and say, "Oh, I wish it was like that." I really wish that I had that kind of body and that kind of muscles. Look at that guy's leg. He's gonna kick me out of the pool, and it worked for me that I weighed less. I was skinny, and I stayed right on top of the water, and I had a better chance of winning. Of course, eventually, the way God has set up this world and the way we've messed it up, everything is sick and dying, including us, and we age. And eventually, all the work that we put into trying to keep our bodies toned and in shape and winning races, eventually we hit up against age. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't good athletes. I saw on YouTube a lady 100 years old running a race. God bless her. But there is a decline in our health as we age and eventually we die. And I think that's what he's saying, that physical training is of some value, but godliness holds promise for the present and the future. And at least in my case, the future is the most important thing for me because I know in 50 years from now, it's almost 75, I'm not going to be here, but I will be somewhere else. And, I hope to have that godliness about me and be pleasing to the Lord. So, yeah, you never know. Some guys, they look like Goliath when you're a 13-year-old kid, and David beat Goliath, and I beat some. There was one kid, Jeremy, that was like 6'7", and he played mind games with everybody. He'd point at you, and he wasn't very muscular. He was like a big version of me, but much bigger than me. Back then, I was probably 5'9". I eventually grew to 6'3", and yeah, all the mind games. And I got into it once too. I even shaved my head for a special meet where I had to swim. I figured, well, they're gonna know I'm serious. And I shaved my head, and I did win it. But then when I went back to school, they wanted to know why I shaved my head, and I got in trouble because it was right after they came in and told everybody that our hair could not be anything like the Beatles. So that was like 1964, and so the question is, discipline is important. I maintain a schedule. I maintain a walking schedule. Uh, I used to run 5K races. I don't run them anymore, but I do walk them. It's difficult in Florida because it's always so hot. But up in Rhode Island, like the fall or the spring, they had plenty of races. And I have T-shirt after T-shirt after T-shirt to show that I did the races. Uh, and spiritually, I maintain my sobriety And part of that program is growing spiritually. I maintain my schedule of Bible reading. I maintain my schedule of meeting with a men's group. And that's how I try to keep discipline. Yeah, we have some accountability with the guys in the group for each other. And yeah, that's what I do. And the best thing is I enjoy doing it, just like I used to enjoy working out. I thought nothing of doing 2 miles in a pool. And I enjoy the Bible. Today, what I did today, I read Second Samuel chapters 1, 2, and 3, and Luke chapters 3, 4, and 5. Just follow that schedule, three chapters a day. Old Testament, 3 chapters a day, and New Testament. Cycle through the Old Testament very slowly because it's a lot bigger, and probably read 3.5 times the New Testament as I finish the Old. But when you do that, you're reading something in the New Testament, and it exactly parallels what you're reading in the Old Testament, so you can see how they're very connected. And I can't imagine just having the New Testament without the Old. So, well, that's it today for me. God bless you all. Have a safe and holy day, and see you tomorrow.